So, one thing that we sort of touched on is, calling a reference, but I think maybe reviewing a few questions that came to your mind,
Right.
and then looking back, maybe, what would you have asked a reference that we would give you? It would be good to be helpful for people to know.
What I learned through the process is, the first thing I'd want to know is, what is the contractor like as a communicator? Because that's the core of your relationship. So are they answering calls on time, emails on time? Are they friendly? Are they easy to work with? Was there times when they felt, when there was friction, when you were defensive and you felt like you couldn't talk, or there were areas you couldn't communicate with? So that would be very important. I then want to get into the financial and the business aspects of it. How did that work as far as planning the project out? Was it able to, how was the management? How did the contractor display their management skills and their business skills as far as keeping the project on scope, the payment schedule, the financial aspects, those things, but kind of trying to talk about the business aspects and find out from them what they thought. I'd also want to ask the reference about the subcontractors that worked on their project, and if they knew whether these subcontractors had a long-term relationship with the contractor I was looking at, or whether they were someone that they'd never met before. And then if the reference knew, if they were happy with the craftsmanship and the work of the subcontractor, and I would also want to know if they found out what the subcontractor thought of the contractor. I'd ask the reference if they knew what the contractor I was looking at, what his or her primary trade was, if they happened to know that. And if that they thought that mattered, whether they were a carpenter or a plumber or something like that. I would really want to. I'd also want to ask them about the job site cleanliness and the professionalism of the crew. And
The site supervision.
Did they have site supervision? Who was that site supervisor? How often did they see the site supervisor versus the contractor? And were they both? And what was the? And then I would, if they had a site supervisor that had a heavy role, I'd want to also ask the same specific questions about communication, friendliness, professionalism. Those types of things, because you're going to want to be able to go back and forth with that person.
A lot of time with them.
And you're spending a ton of time with them. So I'd also want to know from that reference how the contractor performed in terms of your neighbors, adhering to the noise regulations, if you had any, if there were any problems or complaints or anything like that, and how responsive they were to the neighborhood and those types of things. And then, of course, I would see if they would be willing to either to let me maybe visit their project. But more importantly, I think now that I know that I've thought about this, I would actually want to try to not only as a reference interview a past project, but I would want to ask the contractor that I was interviewing if I could see a project that was currently in work. That way I could kind of see for myself some of those things and get a feel for it.
Right.
So I think that would be important. And I would also ask if the contractor I was interviewing would be willing to give me one or two subcontractors that they use and have me interview them as well.
Any other thoughts about, we kind of covered a lot of territory, but
Right.
I think there's a couple other things that we've talked about in the past that, you had mentioned that.
Yeah, I think just quickly, a couple things is absolutely, you have to, when you're finding a contractor, I think you need to find someone that you can have a good rapport with, and you need to have enough conversations early on to decide if you can do that, because you're going to be making just thousands of decisions with this person. Right. And so if you need to find out, can you work with this person, and you need to invest the time up front to try to work with that. If that's sitting down, going and lunching with them, whatever it takes. I think you need to do that because you're gonna spend a lot of time with them, and you have to have some sort of rapport. So you need to find out what kind of person that is, and be kind of very open and honest with them. The other thing I think that you've probably heard this. In fact, I know you told me that you'd heard this a lot. But I think for my wife and I, so whoever's involved in that project, I think you have to communicate. Before you even talk to or as you're talking to your contractor, you really have to talk amongst each other about what you're planning on spending, what your budget is,
right.
And you should be prepared. At least my experience is that as you're developing the project, that you could very easily spend 30% more than what your initial plans are. So are you willing to do that? Can you do that? Because there's just as much planning as you do in the beginning, there are just things that happen over time as the project actually develops, especially a large project like ours where we were redoing the whole house, that you just can't anticipate in the beginning.
Right.
So I really think that you have to, on the consumer side, on the client side, you kind of have to get your act together and look at it realistically.
Well, and inside that 30%, there's usually maybe 5 to 10% that's, some unforeseen thing. There's 5 or 10%. Wow, we saw this. We went over to our neighbor's house,
right.
And they have this amazing fill in the blank. We got to have that, and then there's, 5 or 10% that, wasn't in the scope of work that, well, since we're doing it now, let's just get it over with and we'll do that thing we were going to put off, So I see that all the time. When I was small and it was just me, I built a $500 bookcase. That's turned into a $50,000 remodel.
Mm-hmm.
So it's amazing what happens once you kind of get into it. A lot of it has to do with the trust. So
right.
As soon as you trust somebody, it's like all that fear that you had about, wanting to do something and what's going to happen. We've had people try us out on a little project, like a bookcase, and they had a good experience, and then, okay, let's go the full blown. We're going to do the $200,000 remodel.
And do everything. Yeah.
But so however you do it, you have to build that trust, but you have to know that you're probably it's going to expand for different reasons. It's 90% of the reasons are from the customer from my experience.
Right.
It's not because we screwed up.
No, it certainly was ours. I mean, our project didn't have things go wrong. But as the project developed and, as things move from paper to something that
real and you can see,
touch, feel, smell,
yeah.
And as the project develops, you change your mind.
Yeah.
You want that extra thing or
that
and then you have to make those consumption choices, and that's what we did. So I think, just if you asked me to wrap things up, I think that we've talked a lot about the contractor, but there is, in order to have that communication, in order to have that rapport, you have to honestly tackle, as the customer, you have to honestly, kind of look in the mirror and ask yourself these questions.
Well, I think some questions too are like, how long are you going to be in the house?
Right.
Is this the house you're going to die in? Are you going to transition this house to another house in 3 to 5 years? Or you don't have kids now. Are you going to have kids? Are your kids grown up and they're moving out shortly? Are you expecting grandkids? Are you is a mother-in-law or a father going to have to move in? We've had all those situations which really inform what that project's going to be like.
Right.
And those are important things to look at. And do you want to spend that amount of money in that neighborhood, or would it be better to go buy another house in a different neighborhood that fits the size you need or the needs you?
Well, I don't know if you remember, but one of the recommendations you gave us early on before we'd actually signed on is that we look at other houses that are available that might meet our needs.
Yeah.
Now, this house had sentimental value. It has been in our family. We wanted to keep it in our family, and so. But we did. It certainly got me looking, and also to decide the type of investment that you're about ready to put into the home. Is this? It may not matter, but are you going to build the Taj Mahal in the middle of something?
Some neighborhood that you're never going to get your money back out, or whatever.
Or you're going to have it's it's going to be way out of proportion for
Yeah.
what everything else is. So I think that was good advice, and also something that, you know, back to that rapport with the contractor, that was just another thing that informed me about you as a person and your company, that, you know, you were actively doing, you know, giving me advice that may lead to you not getting work.
Yeah.
You know, sending me away.
But I want you as a customer. I want you all in. You know, I mean,
Right.
let's do this thing if we're going to do it. You know, I don't want second guessing going into it. So, you know, I've just seen over the years, there are customers that they go, you know what, you're right. They call me back 2 weeks later. It's like, we never thought about it, but we found this great house around the corner. But we'll need some work on it eventually. So we'll keep you in mind, and we've worked on that house or whatever. So,
Right.
you know, I think you got to provide a service for people. They don't know what they're getting into. You know, we've done it 100 times. So, you know, it's just opening their eyes to, you know, exploring all the things that need to happen. So,
Right.
So thanks again for having me over and picking your brain on, you know, how the project went. It was a great experience for me, and I always think of this as you know, one of my favorite projects. And you know, you're great to work with, and appreciate your time. And it's been a few hours here talking about stuff, but it actually, for me, you know, when you have a good experience in your life and you kind of go back through it, it feels good to, you know, connect with that. And you know, we become good friends, and you know, it's great to touch base again with you.
Well, Bill, I can't thank you enough for what you've done for Robin and I and our family. So you've created a beautiful home for us. This is our, you know, we believe this is our last home. We've now been in the home almost over 18 months. It's coming up on 2 years. And we've had multiple events in the home, big entertainment events, and of course it's always wonderful to have people tell you how beautiful your home is and how nice. We live in an area where we have lots of neighbors who have told us you know, how much they appreciate our home, but none of that matters as much as what we think of it and what our family does. And we've loved every day in this home, and it's just a beautiful house. And so I can't thank you enough for that and everything you've done for us. So.